Hey, all, and welcome to this week's episode of the Mike Muldoon podcast. Thanks for joining me. I feel like it's been a while since I've talked to you all because I've had so many pre-recorded podcasts, and then I was away. I was out of the country. We went to England for about 10 days, traveled around there with the kids, saw some friends, saw some family. So it's weird being back on the microphone. But anyway, today I want to talk to you about presumptions. This really came from my wife. She said, I think, we have this way of always presuming things, and sometimes it gets us in trouble. And she used an example of herself the other day. She went to drop something off an Amazon return package, and she went there, and the girl was just kind of there at the counter, and my wife put down the package, and the girl just did whatever she did. And my wife's thinking, how rude. Like, she hasn't even acknowledged me. Like, she hasn't even looked at me. And, she hasn't even said hello. She hasn't done anything. And then after the woman was all done with everything, my wife was like, okay, bye. And the woman saw her and looked at her, and she must have saw my wife smiling, saying goodbye. And then the woman kind of shook her head and her hands and everything. And then my wife realized, oh, she's deaf. So, so my wife was really embarrassed, and she said it was terrible for me to just presume that this person was, just being, dismissive of me, or, just, ignoring me, and just thought this was okay. But realistically, she was deaf. So anyway, that's today I want to talk about, right? I want to talk about presumptions because in our daily lives, we often find ourselves just making assumptions or presumptions about people, situations and events that we find ourselves in. I mean, these assumptions can stem from various sources, including our past experiences, societal norms, even cultural influences. And while presumptions can sometimes be helpful in navigating the complexities of life, it also carries inherent risks. So let's just talk about today why it's essential to be aware of presuming things, where presumption comes from, and how it can both aid us as well as hinder us. Presumption often arises from our innate desire to, make sense of the world around us. Our brains are wired to seek patterns, make connections, and draw conclusions based on limited information. This tendency can basically be tracked back to our evolutionary past, when judgments and assumptions were crucial for survival, right? In a very fast-paced and unpredictable environment. And additionally, as we grow up, our upbringing, education, and cultural background play significant roles in shaping our presumptions as well. I mean, we learn from a very young age to categorize people, situations, and ideas basically based on preconceived notions and stereotypes passed down through generations. But there's a danger to presumptions because, like I said, while presumption can provide shortcuts in decision-making and helping us navigate unfamiliar situations, it can also lead to misunderstandings, conflicts, and biases. You see, when we presume things without sufficient evidence or critical thought, we run the risk of making flawed judgments and just reinforcing harmful stereotypes, right? Because presumption, it limits our ability to see beyond our own perspectives and then empathize with others, right? It can blind us to the nuances and the complexities of individual experiences that really lead to unfair treatment and discrimination. Like I said, with my wife, she made all these quick assumptions, young kid, just not paying attention, being dismissive. We kind of see this a lot of times nowadays. And she just automatically went in without realizing that had nothing to do with why this person was doing. The other thing too is a lot of times with presumptions, we presume things, and then that sort of through them, we create a self-fulfilling prophecy where our beliefs about a person or that situation influence our behavior in a way that confirms those beliefs regardless of their accuracy. Now, like I said, there were some benefits to, presumption and how it got us through and kept us alive, right? So, despite its pitfalls, presumption isn't inherently always negative. In many cases, it serves as a cognitive tool that helps us navigate uncertain situations and make quick decisions. Presumption allows us to fill in gaps in our knowledge and make educated guesses based on past experiences, contextual clues that, might be, presented to us, right? You're going to presume, let's not walk too close to that stove because, hot stove, in the past you touched one, you're going to get burned. So in that case, it's a quick decision, going to stay away from that, right? It also, the thing is not just by, protecting yourself, but presumption, it also fosters a social cohesion. It facilitates communication and understanding among individuals with shared cultural backgrounds, right? Experiences, because it provides a common framework through which people can interpret and sort of relate to each other's actions and intentions, right? So if you're sort of a similar societal background or cultural background, your presumptions of how they might react or see things are going to sort of help you relate better, because there's a pretty good chance, because your cultural backgrounds, your upbringings and all that, you see things the same way. And, furthermore, presumption, it can spark curiosity. It could drive us to seek more information to confirm our challenge or our initial assumptions about something. Presumption, it can encourage critical thinking and introspection. It could prompt us to examine the biases and prejudice that, influence our perceptions of the world. So what I'm saying here is, making a presumption doesn't necessarily mean you're a bad person. It doesn't necessarily mean you're a good person. It just means, while it can be used as a very useful cognitive tool, you just have to be mindful of its limitations and its potential consequences. By cultivating a new awareness of our presumptions and remaining open to the new information that might be presented to us and new perspectives, we can kind of mitigate the risks of biases and prejudice towards others. It'll allow you to maybe foster more empathy and understanding for others that can help sort of counteract the negative effects of presumption and promote like more of an inclusive and what's the word I'm looking for? Like an equal reaction, right? So by recognizing, the humanity and the complexity of all of those around us, we can build a more compassionate and interconnected world where presumptions give way to genuine curiosity and appreciation for diverse experiences, right? So on one hand, we're saying, look, presuming things is going to keep you alive, right? On the other hand, we're saying, but you got to be careful. Don't always assume or make a, presumption that you have all the information. Be open, be curious, be willing. So the next time a young girl is sitting there and she's trying to help you out, you just don't assume she's being rude, only to find out that she is deaf. And my wife felt horrible about that. But she learned from it, and she learned from it. And, now she knows going forward, just don't assume or don't make presumptions on situations if you don't have all of the information. So other than that, that's all I really got for you today. I hope you have a great week. The weather's getting nice out, so that's awesome. And as always, I got nothing but love for you.